Halloween Horror Nights 2024 is only like 5 months away, even less actually. But we've had a lot of questions coming through about how do you do HHN right? What if I'm kind of scared and not really into the spooky stuff? Or, what can I expect when I go to Halloween Horror Nights for the first time? Today, Ben and I are going to cover some question and answers that have come through on our YouTube channel to make sure you can have the best HHN experience possible. Question number 1 about HHN season. Is Islands of Adventure open late, or do they close early as well? Now, HHN takes place over in Universal Studios, so can you expect to be able to play in Islands of Adventure during the evenings of an HHN night?
During HHN and on HHN nights more specifically, Universal Studios will close at 5. So if you don't have an HHN ticket, you will be shuttled out of studios around 5. Islands of Adventure tends to stay open a little later on HHN nights, and they will close generally around 8 or 9 p.m. Once HHN is getting kicked off is a great time to try and ride Hagrid's at night, or if it comes back, watch the Dark Arts show on Hogwarts Castle.
I so badly want to watch the Dark Arts show. Question number 2. What rides are typically open at Universal Studios on the Universal Studios side? There's a few rides open during the HHN event. You can tell me if I miss any. Here's what I know off the top of my head. Rip Ride Rocket.
Yep.
MIB.
Yep.
The Mummy?
Yep.
Okay. Gringotts. Gringotts for sure. I think those might be it.
Transformers.
Ooh, and Transformers. We kind of skip that one typically. Not our favorite, but we do love Optimus Prime.
Now, do understand that Transformers, Gringotts, and Rip Ride Rocket will still have to be cleared prior to midnight, so they will close prior to HHN actually being completed. The best part about the attractions during Halloween Horror Nights, though, is that almost every ride will be a walk-on.
Facts. The amount of times we've gone on Gringotts and just waited because the queue goes through the queue process of you have to watch the pre-show. If you could literally just walk onto the roller coaster, it's basically that quick of a, it's so quick, it's so cool.
Gringotts is always a gamble though, because if the Death Eaters are coming back to Diagon Alley will be packed.
It's true.
To see the Death Eaters.
But again, Gringotts, not too bad. Great time to ride Gringotts if you want to take advantage of the low wait times / no wait times. Additionally, one of the cool things about Rip Ride Rocket, if you're brave enough to ride Rip Ride Rocket, I'm not. They do typically put some specialty songs during HHN season, so you just have to know the code to utilize on the little keypad and not be a wimp like me to be able to enter it in time before the ride starts. But there's typically some fun themed songs. I think one year we had Chucky or something, or there are some really interesting songs, but it's fun to be able to do that. Welcome to the Black Parade. Oh yeah, big fan. Question number 3. What shows are available to watch during HHN? This is a solid question to really delineate the difference of shows during the daytime and shows during the HHN event. So go ahead and dive into that one, because I think you know this one best.
We don't know officially what shows will be at Halloween Horror Nights for 2024.
Can we talk about spec?
We'll have to wait until Universal officially releases the shows for this season.
Yes.
Now we think that there will be,
based on years past,
that there will be a Nightmare Fuel show.
Woo!
We think there will be a water show like Ghoulish from a couple years ago.
If there's not, they've been putting in so much work on that water show area.
And we suspect that there will also be a Horde show similar to the Megan Horde last year.
The Megan Horde was fantastic last year. People were huge fans. In the past, prior to the Megan Horde, they did have a chainsaw gang. So there's always something moving around, but that Megan dance routine was quite the hit. So I would also consider the Death Eaters a show in themselves as well. They come out at
intervals,
intervals throughout the evening. And so, if you wanted to experience the Death Eaters. I would consider that kind of a show in itself. The daytime shows that are in Universal Studios will not be taking place during the HHN event. So things like Born, things like Horror Makeup Show, Vamos, Mel's, RIP. Those types of shows will not happen during the HHN event. There's just not enough space and way too much going on to be able to do those shows on top of all of the other happenings in the park during that time. Next question. This is a good one, kind of a doozy here. Do the Premier Hotel Express passes work on rides during HHN, but not haunted houses? A lot of clarification, so go ahead, dive into this because we really want to make sure this is clear.
So at Universal Studios, during Halloween Horror Night, the only express passes that will work, even for the attractions, are Halloween Horror Nights express passes. If you're over in Islands of Adventure, your normal hotel Premier Resort express passes will work just like normal. But again, if you're over in Studios during Halloween Horror Nights, just the Halloween Horror Nights express passes will work. It's not a huge deal though, because like we said earlier, most of the attractions are gonna be nearly a walk-on.
Right. And I think just as a reminder, Halloween Horror Nights is a separately ticketed event. So to be able to attend Halloween Horror Nights in its own, a regular park ticket won't cover that.
Correct.
So that's kind of why, you know, if you're staying at Hard Rock, Royal, or Portofino, those express passes over in Studios are not going to be applicable during that time at Studios because there's another event going on that you have to have an additional ticket for. So, you know, if you really want to use your Premier Express Pass, you can go to Islands. They'll take it over there. Interesting question. I don't think it comes up often, but I think it's very good to be able to clarify that. Do HHN Express Passes work on the island side?
No. Your normal Express Pass, however you get it, will work over in Islands, but your HHN Express Pass will not work over at Islands.
That is so confusing. Basically, again, separately ticketed event going on in Studios, Islands of Adventure, typical passes, typical experience. Next question. Are there any kids activities happening during HHN?
HHN is definitely a more adult-friendly event. I think on the website they say for 13 years and older. However, we have definitely seen kids way younger than 13 at Halloween Horror Nights. That's not to say that you can't have fun if you're a kiddo, because the water show would still probably be great even if you're young. If
there is a water show.
The Death Eaters would still be great if you love Harry Potter. However, most of the shows, so like Nightmare Fuel, that's definitely an adult show.
Hey.
And if you're a bit of a scaredy cat, like you will get scared in the houses.
Personally, like it depends on how mature your kid is and what you want them to be able to see. If Death Eaters are like the reason you want to bring your kids, because I think that's pretty cool. You have to go through the scare zones to get back there. Like you can walk around and try to avoid them, but you're still going to see some of the stuff in those scare zones. During the daytime, they do cover up the gore, so you're not walking around the parks during typical hours seeing that stuff, but it will be there during the event. Alternatively, again, if the Death Eaters are there this year, which I think they will be, you can bring kids prior to HHN starting, like around 4 o'clock. They've brought the Death Eaters out prior, but it's not a guarantee. We still don't know at this time. So basically, when it comes to HHN as its event, it does not have kid-friendly activities. It is an adult-focused
HHN is certainly not Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween.
Correct. That might be a better activity to bring your kiddos to. On to the next one. If both parks are open and you have a park hopper ticket, aka park-to-park ticket, does the Hogwarts train still run between the parks during HHN?
Always subject to change, but typically the Hogwarts Express will close with Universal Studios at 5 p.m.
Universal Studios, to be able to host HHN, does file everybody out of the park so they can set up for the event. Now there is a stay and scream option, and we will cover that in more detail in a future video. So that way, if you are interested in staying in the park and you don't want to have to leave and come back in, you can. But the Hogwarts Express will do a final run, basically, over to Islands, and the wait time for that gets pretty high because people who are not able to stay in studios because they don't have that stay and scream option to be there for HHN. I remember seeing it at like 4 o'clock, 4:30, and it was like at least an hour wait, but then it was like a 5-minute ride over to the studio side because nobody could get on it. So no, the Hogwarts Express typically will not be available to ride back and forth between the parks during the HHN event. Next question, can costumes be worn during HHN? Unlike Mickey's Not So Scary, no, you can't wear costumes during the event.
No costumes, no masks.
Definitely no masks. You can have fun and wear cool outfits, but like don't wear costumes. Don't try to look like you are one of the scare actors. I thought about dressing you up last year as a Stranger Things character, and then I was like, yeah, no, never mind. I'm not trying to get us kicked out or
not let in.
Not let in. It's too important. We like HHN way too much. And final question for today. If I want a full park day, would you recommend going on a Monday or Tuesday when HHN is not happening? And then what would the crowd levels look like on an HHN day versus a regular day? So let's break this down into a couple question and answers here. Go for it.
So typically during the HHN season, so specifically talking September, October, the crowd levels during the day are usually very manageable, very low comparatively to late summer. We've had a great time at the parks on non-HHN days or even prior to HHN's days, enjoying the parks with very low crowd levels during that season.
Kids are back in school. It's fantastic.
Now, further breaking it down, weekdays will always typically be lower crowds than weekends.
Yep.
So on those non-HHN Monday, Tuesdays, those parks are probably going to be pretty dead during that September, October season.
If you are somebody, I know this is not necessarily part of the question, but if you're somebody that's trying to do daytime and then go to HHN that night,
take a break.
Go take a break partway through your day, because it is a long day to do the start of the day all the way till like what, 2 a.m.?
2 a.m.
It's
usually.
a long day. It's fun, don't get us wrong, but you know, a midday nap doesn't hurt. Just an extra piece of advice there. Those are all the questions we have today. We've loved answering these. We're very excited for the Halloween Horror Night season, and we will be putting out some additional how-to videos to make sure you can have the best HHN possible.
If you have any other questions that come up during your planning for Halloween Horror Nights, be sure to let us know in the comments. I'm sure we'll do another future video with more questions to come. Stick around for more Universal content and more HHN content. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye. Toodaloo.